Hey guys, so I just wanted to make a video. It's probably going to end up being a little bit long, so this should be on YouTube and then I'll share a link. But I just wanted to make a video because I have some time, so I'm starting to work on the like the list of stuff that everybody said they wanted to see. Like I legit wrote a list down. So I'm gonna start working on that stuff. So I already made a video for how to laminate stickers. So I will make sure I keep reposting that link because that was one that a lot of people asked to see. So now I'm gonna work on like a little bit of Procreate and sticker stuff combined. So essentially, I had a few requests for showing like the different menu, like the menu bar of like options in Procreate. So I'm going to show those while simultaneously making a sticker so that I can kind of show you both things at once. So we can go ahead and get started. So for me personally, I like to, for all of my stickers, I like to do 1,000 by 1,000 canvas. I just think that I'd rather make it 1,000 by 1,000 is way bigger than you would need for any stickers, like just regular average 3, 4, 5-inch stickers. That's way bigger than you would need for that, but I prefer to make it a little bit bigger and then size down in Design Space, as opposed to not making it big enough and then having to size up, because sizing up you're going to lose some of the quality, of course. So I use 1,000 by 1,000, and so yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna just do, I've already made all 50 states plus Washington, D.C. So I'm just gonna remake another state here. So essentially what I did for my states is at first I was like tracing the state shape, and then I realized that's a lot of work. So I went and I just pulled, like, I just went to the state I want to draw. I'm going to do North Carolina. And then I did North Carolina state outline. And then I just found one that was like a PNG, right? So this one's a PNG. And the reason I know that is because you see how it's like solid white right now, but when you click on it, it has all those gray and white boxes. And then I just saved it. And then we're gonna insert a photo. We're gonna choose that photo and use it. And then I just sized it as big as I could on my canvas so that I could work easy. And we can always resize this back down in Procreate later. So there we go. I got it in there. And now I'm gonna kind of show you like what some of these menu options are for right here. So this is what I was asked to kind of go over. So this is going to kind of show you each one. So essentially, I didn't want to use this particular outline. It's kind of detailed. It's really detailed a lot. So I'm going to outline it myself later on in the sticker design process, but I'll show you that. So first things first is I need something to paint on, right? To paint on. This is all transparent. So if I turn the background off, you can see that it's just the outline. I can't do anything with this. I need something that I'll be able to blend colors and stuff like that because I want to make a sky. So I'm going to turn this layer onto a reference layer. I'm going to add a layer. I'm going to make sure that that layer's on top. So the layer underneath is going to be filled in with a color that I choose because I made in the shape of the state, because I made this the reference layer. So when I when I go here and I drop and drag and drop it, it's the shape of this state now, but the outline itself is on a different layer. So as you can see, the outline's on a different layer. So now I have the starting point of what I'm gonna draw and like paint on and stuff like that or whatnot. So that's that. So that's what reference is. Reference just means that you want to fill that shape, whatever shape it is, with color, but not on the same layer. So you're going to turn the reference on so that your layer underneath, and it's always going to be the layer underneath, gets filled with whatever the shape of that layer is. So now that I'm done, I can turn the reference off, and I'm going to delete that because I don't need that outline. Like I said, I outline it myself later on. So this is my base layer. I design everything on top of my base layer. So I'm going to add a new layer, and then what I do next for my state stickers is I Google sunsets in that state, just so I can use it as a color guide. So let's see. I'm going to choose an easy one just because I'm just trying to show you guys. So I like the colors in this one. So we're going to use the colors in this picture. So I'm going to save it. We're going to insert that one. And I just move it over to the side. And then what I do is I want to use this just for the colors. So I hold my finger down and it's going to pick colors, right? So then I go to, I'm just going to choose a bigger brush. So I picked that color and I just make a splotch of it. And then I go to the next color and I just make a splotch of it. And then the next color, a little splotch. And then you just do this with all of your colors that you want to use in your design. So there we go. I don't want to take too much time doing that. So that's just the color reference layer. So it doesn't matter where that is in your thing. I just always moved it down to the bottom just so that I can hide it easy later on. And the reason I do that is just so that I can easily choose those colors. Now, one thing that's really cool about the new Procreate, the newer Procreate upgrade, is you can make your whole self a palette with all these colors. So if you click on the color thing and you go down here to palette and you add that, or you click the plus button, you're gonna go new from photos. So then it creates a whole palette that has a lot more colors than I need, because I don't need all of this watercolor because I'm gonna do a different design. But maybe, you know, anyways, you can do that if you wanted to. I had already started my state stickers though before this update came out, so this is how I was doing it, and I just continue to do it that way. So, but whatever's easiest for you. So there we go. We got our color palette, and then I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and so we got our color palette. We can go ahead and start designing. So essentially, I don't want to design on this in case I need to make any changes. If I started to design on the actual layer itself, let's say I started to, you know, draw part of my sky or whatever, but I messed up and I go to erase it, it's going to erase the actual white part too. So that's why you want to just have your base layer and start everything on a new layer. So, and you can use 2 fingers to undo. So you'll always just create another layer on top. And now when I draw, if I mess up and I go to erase, it just erases where I messed up on, but my white layer is still there. So now we just start designing. And then for my skies, I use the airbrush tool or brush a lot. Just a soft airbrush, and you can find that under the airbrushing brushes. I just created my own list of my most used brushes, so that's why it's a completely different list. So these, I created a lot of state stickers, 50 of them, 51 because DC. So this is what I use for like my clouds and just different things. So soft airbrush is what I started with. And essentially you can do it however you want. This is just how I did it, right? So that lighter purple we're going to start with on top. So my base layer is really messy. And then we're just gonna throw in, and this is just to show you guys, obviously I did a better job when I was actually designing these. So we just throw that on there. A little bit of yellow over here for the sun. A little bit more purple. And then the darker ones down here. So you just throw that on.
Yeah, almost $50.
All right, sorry. My husband came in being all loud. So there we go. Oh, I'm just gonna add a little more yellow here. So we kind of laid down some color. And obviously, like I said, this is just so I can show you guys like how I design my stickers. So boom, we got the color laid down. Now what I like to use the Gaussian blur a lot, so I blurred this a little more so that it kind of, you know, blended together a little bit better. So there we go. And then now this is on top, but I want it in the shape of my state. So I want it to apply just to that white layer that I had. So in that case, what I'm gonna wanna do is select, you know, I'm still selected on the layer that I just did with all the colors and stuff. And now I'm gonna click on clipping mask. And what that's gonna do is, you see now it's in the shape of my state. It clipped that layer to the layer that was underneath it. So now my colors, my sky colors, are only gonna show up on the shape of my state. So that's what the clipping mask does. It has, you see the little arrow down? I don't know if you can see that. You see the little arrow? So it essentially did what it says it's doing, is it clipped onto that layer. So whatever layers are on top of here, if I add another layer and I choose clipping mask, it's all going to be clipped onto that layer. Okay. So we got the sky down. Now I'm just going to add my design, whatever silhouette design I want to use, right? So it's going to be a new layer, but it's not going to be clipped yet, because I want to work on the whole thing. So I'm just going to make something up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to take my bridge from my other design, and I'm going to put it on this one. Not bridge. What is that thing called? A deck? I don't know. But anyways, I'm just going to select it and hold it down while also going to my newest design. And then I'm just going to drop it in. And so there's my little bridge. So I'm going to select it. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. So there we go. That was just easier. So typically I would have just drawn that on its own separate layer, but since I already drew out the bridge for my other design, I just wanted to show you guys. So right now it's can go anywhere. You see it can go anywhere on the thing. So what we want to do is just clip it too, so that none of these little bridge pieces come out underneath, you know. So that's that. And then I want to add little birds. So I'm just going to draw little birds, right? I'm not a big drawer of birds. There's a whole flock of them, right? And there's some that are close and some that are far away. So there's my flock of birds. I'm also going to clip that because I want it just on the design. So that's clipping mask, right? Now, I would finish designing this whole thing and, you know, move forward or whatnot. But what I'm also going to show you is, let's pretend that this design was done. I do my outline. Like I said, I outline it myself later on in the process. So I just create a new layer on top of everything. And then I just go through and I outline the shape of the state. And this is going to be a really quick outline. Just so that we can get this done. Okay, my state is outlined, so we're good there. Now, I always added the name of the state onto the sticker too. So we're gonna add some text. We're gonna make it say North Carolina. Oops. I'm not going to put a space there because I know that I'm turning this into a script text and I want it to be connected. So we add the text and then you go and choose your font that you want. I always used the double rainbow font, and you see how now the N and the C are connected. That's what I wanted. If it wasn't, if I did the space in between North Carolina, they wouldn't be connected, but I want them connected for what I'm using them for. So then I just add it where I want it on the design. And then I'm gonna just, essentially I'm just gonna erase where it overlaps. It's kind of easier to see. Now you can see. I'm just gonna erase my design where it comes over the name of the state, if that makes sense. So let me just hide that because we're done with our colors, so we don't need that anymore. So let me just move the word North Carolina where I want it. So I think I'm acting like I'm really doing this state all over again. Okay, that looks good to me. So anywhere that above the letters I want removed because I want the outline to stay here. And I'm gonna remove those birds because I don't like them. Okay, that looks better. So keep in mind that the outline is separate from the color. So I'm gonna move the name a little bit more. Let's do it like that so that it's okay. So this line, the outline is going to come all the way over to the L. So I'm going to start from the L and just erase the outline from this area. And it's going to end at the N. Okay? And I'm going to do the same thing for the color part. We're just going to erase everything that is above the word. And some of these I left the color in the letters and some of them I didn't. I don't know why it wasn't uniform throughout, but I don't want to go back and change it. So that's how it's staying. So there we go. And then you see how there's little white spaces. Oh, there's little white spaces there just because of how the state shape lined up with my letters. In that instance, what I would do is I'm going to use this smudge tool. And all that's going to do is just smudge the design underneath it up a little bit. just so that there's no white there. Okay, and that's it. This is all sticking out, remember, because we didn't do the outline that great. I just did a quick outline, but normally that would, you know, that would look nice. So there's my sticker design. Let's pretend this is the whole thing, right? So that's how I showed you how to use the reference. I showed you how to use the clipping mask. I showed you how to use, what else? Maybe that's it. Oh no, the fill layer. So now let's see what else we can do. So let's pretend that this is done. That's my whole design. This is what I want my sticker to look like. We are good to go. So Design Space now has the offset feature, so you don't have to worry about creating your own white outline anymore like you used to. Sometimes Design Space offset feature isn't the greatest, so I still create it sometimes, so we'll get into that next. Okay, so we're gonna work on the offset. Essentially what you want is a white background for everything, right? And then I'll show you in another video how to do Design Space's offset, and so you can kind of see the difference. So we're just gonna add a new layer, and then we're just gonna move it all the way so that it will be underneath everything. And then we're gonna choose white, which we don't have white on that palette, so I'll choose another palette. And then you just want to choose, like, I use the round brush. The outline is just a modified round brush, but essentially I just use the round brush. And then you'll change the size, and I gotta kind of move it closer for this. And then you'll just go around and you'll just try. This sticker's too big for the page. You see how big the page is? So my white outline is kind of cutting into that. So I'm gonna make everything a little bit smaller. That way I have room to do the white outline. So then I literally just trace around my sticker. So that you have that. And then what you want to do is, because you just created just with the outline tracing, you just want to fill it in. That's it. And then you see what I did there? When you hold it down, it hides everything except the layer that you're holding down. You hold it down again. Well, there we go. And it brings it all back. So that's how you create the white outline. So now my sticker is completely done, right? So this is the whole design. It's obviously a very rough draft copy of it, but this is the whole thing there. So let's see what some of the other options are when we click on the little menu thing. So copy is pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to copy that, whatever is in that particular layer. Okay. This is a text layer, so that's why you see the option there for rasterize. So right now, the text layer, if I were to select this, I could select the whole word and edit it so that it says something completely different. I could just select one letter and delete it, you know, if I wanted to say something or whatever. So, but we're going to leave it as is, right? So as a text, you can edit the text and what it says. When you click on rasterize, which I'm going to do it because it doesn't matter, it now becomes an image. So you can no longer, like, you see, you can no longer select the text. It is now a picture, essentially, an image. So now you can delete it with your eraser. You can do everything else just like you would have done with the rest of the, so that's what rasterize is. What else do we have there? We went over reference. Reference is just when you want to fill in, like I want to fill in the little letters with a solid color, let's say, you would turn your layer on to reference, add a layer below it, and then you would drag and drop whatever colors you want into that area. You can't barely tell. Well, that I didn't choose the right, but here we go. You can see it on those. So that's what reference is. It's filling in, but not on the same layer that the actual design is on. So now if I hid the word design, you can see where I filled in at. That is what reference does. Alpha lock, did we go over alpha lock? I don't know if we did, so we'll go over that again, just in case we didn't. So alpha lock is when you only want to do something in a specific area. So if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to fill the outline, the black outline that we made. Let's say I decided I wanted a yellow outline instead. I would turn on alpha lock. And so now where my black outline is, anything that I do to this layer will only occur on that black outline. So if I were to draw, you see how it's only filling in the black outline because it's alpha locked. So anything outside of the black outline is locked. You cannot draw on it. You cannot do anything with it. So if I wanted to change that to yellow, I would just select a yellow color, and then I would go on, make sure alpha lock is on, and then just fill layer, and the whole thing is yellow now. That's what alpha lock does. It essentially makes it so you can only draw or do anything with that particular design on that layer. So if, for instance, I alpha locked the bridge, now I can only draw exactly where every little mark is on the bridge, nowhere else. So let's show you. I can't draw here because it's alpha locked, but I can draw there because it's not, because that's the part that is able to be drawn on. So we're gonna undo everything. So that's what alpha lock is essentially. And then let's see, we're gonna turn alpha lock off. And now let's say that this is my design, I'm done with it. And now I made it, I printed it out as a sticker and everything. Obviously I have other tutorials that show you exactly how to print this as a sticker and whatnot. But I need to create, I wanna list it on Etsy now, so I need to create an Etsy listing photo. So for that, this is how I create my Etsy. I insert my purple background. And right now, you see where it's at? It's above everything else, but below the North Carolina word. So depending on where you have this situated, will determine what else comes up. So because I put it in between the two clipped masked layers, it's also clipping to the state shape. So when we move it, it will determine what's going to show. So that's where I want it, because I want it to be the background of my design. So now that we got that, I want all of my Etsy listings, they're digital renditions, but I kind of want to give them the extra little like realistic look a little bit more. So I create a shadow. So to do that, essentially, I'm going to group all of these together because I know that this is my sticker design itself, and then here's my background, and then just here's the color thing that I used. I'm never going to use that again for this design, so I don't need to ever show it. I just keep it there. I don't know why, honestly. But anyways, so here's my group of my whole sticker design. I'm going to just duplicate that just in case I mess up or whatever. I like to have a little copy of it. I merge everything together. So now there's two of them. One is merged all together. You saw how I pinched it all together. So now anything that I do, let's hide that one. Now anything that I do, I can't delete just a part of the layer. It's gonna delete everything because now it's all one layer as opposed to before where I could just delete the letters or I can just delete a little part of the bridge or whatever. Now it's going to delete everything because it's all one layer. So that's when you pinch them all together, you merge them all into one layer. So essentially, this is going to be my background layer. It's I'm going to create the shadow with that, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to hide the top layer. I'm going to turn the alpha lock on, and I'm going to fill this with black because the shadow is black. Okay, so I selected black, alpha lock is on. I'm going to go to fill layer. The whole thing is filled with black now. I'm going to turn my top layer back on so that I can see where I want to position my shadow. So I think that looks good. What we're going to do, because we have alpha lock on, remember you can only do whatever's in the design. When alpha lock is on, we got to turn alpha lock off so that we can make this design expand by using the Gaussian blur. If we had left alpha lock on, let's just show you, and we went to Gaussian blur, nothing would happen because it can't go outside of this design. So nothing is going to happen. So that's why you have to turn alpha lock off and then go to Gaussian blur. And now we're going to blur it. I think that's a good amount of blur. And then it's really dark and black, the shadow. I want to soften it up a little bit. So I'm going to select the shadow layer and I'm going to select this end and just change the opacity. So you see how it becomes lighter and darker. So I'm going to just change the opacity a little bit so that it's like that. And that's it. That's the whole, like that'll be my Etsy listing photo and everything. It's not going to have that harsh line there. That harsh line is just because I did the Gaussian blur before moving the shadow. Essentially, I can move it back over there. So, oh, but now it's over there. Whatever. But that's the whole thing. So that's how I design my stickers. Add my white outline. That's everything from start to finish. It kind of explains what some of these are, and realistically the best way to learn is just play with all of this. Just go in and start drawing. Like some of my very first like drawings or whatnot were me just playing around. Let's see, just so I can show you guys some stuff. That's not a good one, but anyways, yeah, just go in there and play around, just mess with it, do whatever. Like it doesn't matter, just mess with like a lot of the settings and stuff. Do whatever you want and just see what, just see what happens. Just click on everything and just kind of learn it. And but yeah, so that's it. That's how I design my stickers. And then from here is where I would send it to my MacBook, and then I would print it out as a sticker. So anyways, I hope that helped, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye.